Welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Senaparatna. Grab your favorite drink, get a snack, and we'll get started. Today I have what I think is raspberry lemon tea. I'm not 100% sure whether it's black or herbal or green or white. Not sure because it's in Japanese. And I think I have chocolate strawberry something. All I can read is chocolate on the package, and there's a little strawberry. So I'm not 100% sure what these are either. So let's get ready for an adventure. Let's get real. So I want to talk a little bit about something that I learned while I was in Japan about myself. Now, I know that I'm one of those people that always I'm trying to learn and trying to grow, and I take simple things and I kind of apply them to my life. And it is no different when I'm in a foreign country. Now, I have been to, I believe, 15 countries at this point, and Japan was by far one of the most challenging places for me in my life. I've been to Sri Lanka, which is a third world country, and fell in love with it the minute I walked off the plane. Like the minute I walked out of the airport, and they have such a smell in Sri Lanka that you just cannot describe in any other way, other than when you've been there. And I love Sri Lanka. There's no money, and I still absolutely loved Sri Lanka. And here we are in Japan, one of the most technologically advanced places in the world. And I did not enjoy Japan very much. Now, I enjoyed the people and I enjoyed who I was with. It was just not a place that I probably will ever go back to. Not because it was a bad place. It was a great place, and I could see how many people love it. But for me, it was so difficult and it was so challenging because of who I am. Now, I am a person that really, I'm trying to think of how to say this. I really enjoy what we call in our family margin. I love to rest. I love to debrief and really make sure that I'm fully rested all the time. Now, a couple years ago, I would have said that was lazy. I like to be lazy. And that's really not the truth, because when I am doing something, I do 100%. So when I'm doing diamond dots, for instance, I have a hard time like getting up and making my family a meal. You know, I could go weeks if that project goes that long and do nothing else. Get up in the morning, that's what I do. So I kind of have a hard time switching. And when you're in Japan, there is no switching for me. It was always people, always activity. There really wasn't a lot of quiet spaces. And I now understand why they have like Zen gardens and things like that, because it is constantly moving. Even their buildings, some of their buildings in like the touristy areas, things on their buildings are moving. In fact, there was one day that my sister, because she loves to shop, and I hate shopping. In fact, the minute I find that one souvenir, I'm good. I don't need to go back and do another shop. And my sister could shop from morning till dusk and then do it in the middle of the night too. She loves shopping. So she went shopping, and my daughter and I were like, we're going to go on the boat ride, because there's like a boat tour that we knew nothing, because they spoke in all Japanese, which is where we were. So that's what they should speak in. But I had no idea what she was saying, because they speak very quickly and you just don't always catch any of the words. And all I really know is thank you anyway. So, that was great. But we're on this thing and we get there, and there's a really long line, because they love their lines in Japan, and you don't butt in line like you are. Like in the United States, we kind of tend to not do great at lines, but they're really good at a line. So you get in line, and I was probably in line for at least a good half an hour. waiting in this pretty long little line, and finally I get up there and I order my 2 tickets. In who knows what I paid or how I paid, I hand them the money, they hand me back money. I don't know what it is at this point. And so then there was also these little things called coins, and they were little like pancake batter with a big piece of mozzarella in the middle. Like a pancake. They're very hard to describe, but my daughter fell in love with them. She loved them, so we got in line for that. And you pay with a little machine, and then you give them the ticket. They don't like to exchange money if they don't have to when they're cooking. So you buy it in a little machine, and then you show them the ticket that you paid for it, and then they give you the product. And so we're standing, I'm guessing we were in these lines for at least 45 minutes to an hour before we got on the boat. So we get on the boat and we're there, and we both had gotten a beverage that we had brought from home, and she has her little cheese coin is what they're called. And I had some chips that I brought along because at this point in the trip, I knew always bring a snack with, because I'm not necessarily going to be a big fan of whatever there is, because I'm not a seafood girl and we're in Japan. So there we go. I mean, one equals the other. So I had some snacks. I think I had saltines with me that day because I brought a ton of saltines and peanut butter with me. So that's what I ate most of the time in Japan. And so we're sitting on the boat and they're giving the instructions, and, they bring out a life jacket or something. And I was like, oh, that's a life jacket. I have no idea what we're doing with the life jacket, but they're doing the safety things and everybody's laughing because she must be really funny. And, we're sitting on this boat, and finally we take off and we go about halfway down the river, and you're just looking, and it's beautiful. Like, Japan is so unique because you have these like super high buildings, and then you have these really wildly colored buildings. I mean, it's just, everything's so unique there, and nothing's in English, so it's all in Japanese. So you're imagining what could be inside these different places, and they turn the boat around. And as we're coming back, I'm like, Samantha, look, there's a huge Ferris wheel on the side of the building. I saw that on YouTube, that there's this huge Ferris wheel on the outside of the building with like a guy's face in the middle. And I was like, I saw that on YouTube. And I looked down, like right below it, and that's where we had been standing for 45 minutes. Like, I never took the time to look up and see that there was a huge Ferris wheel right above our heads for the last probably hour by the time we took off. And I didn't notice until we were further away that we were standing there for almost an hour underneath this huge Ferris wheel. And my daughter turns to me and says, well, if that's not a podcast, I don't know what could be. But it was one of those moments that I was like, we get so enwrapped in what we're doing sometimes that we just don't see what's going on around us. We don't see the big picture. And that for me was such an aha moment, because then we were looking up because we're on the boat, and you're looking up at all the buildings, and there's these big, huge animated characters on the top of a ton of these buildings that we were just there for at least 45 minutes and had been there several times, by the way, before this. This is like our second or third time in this same area, because there's so much to do in that area that I just never looked up and saw these huge size of our trailer standing on top of animated characters on top of buildings that I just never looked up and saw. And there was one building that was like a black and white building. It was white with like black vines along it with big roses. It was so beautiful, and I never looked up to see this beautiful building. I actually took a picture of that. I might put that up on social media for you, just because I love a good black and white anything. But I just was so blown away that has been my view of so much of my life. When I am making decisions and I'm, trying to move through life, I really do not normally have the big picture. It is just not who I am. I'm not a big picture person. I'm a detailed person, which is why my husband and I work so well, because he will come up with some huge grandiose scheme, and I wouldn't call them schemes, plan. Come up with some big plan, and I'll be like, okay, well, this is how you do it. Boom, 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 boom. I am not great at coming up with big ideas. It's just not something that I'm great at. And I'm not normally good at like looking out and seeing the future. Not that any of us are, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a great planner. I know that this is how long I plan on staying there. And my husband's always like, but Jenny, this is going to happen, so you're going to end up being there longer. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm only going to go for 5 minutes. And then he's right, because he just sees the bigger picture. And it was that moment that we were sitting on the boat that I was like, Lord, this is why I depend on you. This is why, as I'm praying through my life and I'm trying to make decisions on things, and I am, you're looking at your finances, or you're looking at your health plan, or you're looking at just different things in your life, like what kind of job should I get? Those kind of things. I am so bad at looking up and seeing the whole picture that I had to depend on God to really help me make a small decision that could impact big things. And so I just wanted to come on and say, are you looking at the big picture as you're making decisions? Are you depending on the one that sees it all? The Lord sees all, the future, the past, the present. He sees the big animated characters above you that you are not even paying attention to. I was in that line for at least a good half hour, maybe even longer, and I never took the time to look up. I was looking around me, but I never looked up to see the huge Ferris wheel and the huge animated character on the other side. And I need the Lord to remind me to look up sometimes. I need the Lord to say, hey, Jenny, when it comes to your finances and you are hoping, because I'm saving up right now to buy a couch. I know I've talked about my couch before. My couch is a disaster. I need a new one. I need a miracle, Lord. And so I'm saving up. I'm selling things in the house right now to try to raise money for this couch. I know it's so silly, Jenny, but that's what I'm doing. And so I was like, Lord, I'm doing this. And he's like, remember the Ferris wheel. You need to look up and see the big picture. I need that in my life. And I think we all do. I think sometimes we just need to step back and go, Lord, what do I not see? What am I not seeing? What am I not even thinking about that you're thinking about? When you're doing your finances, are there places you should be giving? Are there places that you should be more generous in? Or are you being frivolously generous? There's a little bit of both for people. And unfortunately for me, I have to take a step back sometimes and go, are you being frivolously generous, or are you being generous with my big picture in mind, Jenny? And so I just wanted to come on and say, hey, are you looking up? Are you looking to the one who knows it all as you're making a decision about a new job, or you're making a decision about a home or relationship, or whatever you're kind of working through right now? You only see part of the picture, and the Lord sees it all. So why not depend on Him and ask Him to show you more of what He's seen so you can make a great decision? Well, that's all I have for this week. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Be Real, Real Life with Jenny. You can also find me at christconnection.cc/Jen. All of my info is on there if you want to contact me in any way. We are planning out for next winter, actually, December and beyond for 2023. If you're looking for an event, just let us know. We'd love to come out and be part of either a women's event or a church event, whatever you kind of need someone to come out and just really be an encouragement. That's what we do. So you can find us at christconnection.cc. I pray that as you are moving forward right now and you are excited about something, that you would take a moment and to say, Lord, help me see the big picture. Help me see what I'm not seeing. Help me look up to you. You all have a great week.